Hello everyone! So today we are going to do a little science experiment. Now for this you need some water, you need 3 different objects, so I'm going to use an egg, my work badge and a bottle cap. Now we are going to be looking at something called density. Now density is what we use to describe of how close things are together. So although an object might appear as one thing, some objects have lots of air in them and lots of space in between. So if we try a sponge, which we can squish and we can see there's lots of air in there, if we put it on top of our water, it's going to float. Now something much harder and much more dense, like a spoon, if we put it in our water, it's just going to sink straight to the bottom every time. Because it's much more dense and you'll feel that it's harder. There's less space in between it. There's basically no air in there. So that's why our metal spoon won't float. Now, believe it or not, there is actually some space within our water. Now, our experiment today is going to be seeing if by filling that space using some salt, we can make these objects float. So if we have a look first, our egg sinks. Be careful when you drop the egg. Our Mr. Mikhail's work card sinks, and Mr. Mikhail's bottle cap sinks. So they all sink in an ordinary cup of water. Now we're going to start adding some salt into our water to see if we can get the things to float. So do it 1 spoon at a time so you can see the difference. Oh, should have opened this beforehand, it's a bit tough. Oh, got it open and I barely spilled any salt on the floor. So 1 spoon of salt, you can put that in your water and you're going to mix that in, and ideally you want to mix it till you can't see the salt in there anymore, so you might need to mix for quite a while. So I've still got a little bit of salt in there, so keep mixing and you can actually see the water is changing colour, and that salt is going to start filling the gaps that the water left in there. So let's have a look. After 1 spoon of water, we put my egg in, still sinking, still touching the bottom of that glass. Mr. Mikhail's badge. Oh, it's sinking, but again it's going slower than it did before. Mr. Mikhail's bottle cap. That one sinks straight to the bottom. So we know after 1 spoon they're all still sinking, so I'm going to put another spoon in. Again, make sure you mix it well so that you can't see little bits of salt on the bottom of it. Now it will change colour and mix it all in so you can see the salt going in there. But there we go, I think I've got most of it in there. It might take a little bit of time. Try to use warm water instead of cold water and then it will dissolve into the liquid a little bit better. Now after 2 spoons, let's give this a try. Ooh, my egg's still touching the bottom, so it's not quite floating yet, but we can see it's not sinking down as quick as it did before. Mr. Mikhail's work card. Still hitting the bottom. And Mr. Mikhail's bottle cap. Put it in the right way. Make sure you put it in the same way each time to make sure you're not watching the experiment. And they're all still floating. But now let's go to my 3rd spoon of salt. And mix it all in. Go. And you'll find the more you put in, you might have to mix it for a little bit longer each time. Right. I think that should just be about enough. The check, can you see on the bottom? Can't see any on the bottom of mine. So, try my egg now. Ooh. Now, if I put it down, you can see it's just touching the bottom, so I might need just a tiny bit more, but it's almost floating my egg. Let's try Mr. McHale's work badge. Give it a little push. Ooh, still sinking. And let's give our bottle cap a go. Still sinking straight to the bottom. So I'm seeing now that it seems like this must be the most dense object, and it's tough between these two. I'll add a little more salt in and see if I can find out. There we go, big spoonful, mix it all in. There we go, still got a little bit of salt in there, so I'm going to keep going. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's try. I'm just going to make my water stop moving around. Actually, just a tiny bit left in there. There we go. Let's have a look now. So, Mr. McHale's going to try his egg first, and we'll see. Ooh. Now, if we can see, Mr. McHale's egg's now poking out on top of the water, and it's actually not touching the bottom. So putting all those scoops in, I can see my egg is floating. And that is because I have filled the gaps in the water using my salt. So that means the egg is more dense now than the water in here. And that's just by filling the gaps in the water by adding some salt in. Let's try Miss McHale's work badge. Floating on top, give it a little poke. Still going down. So we know that Mr. McHale's work badge is more dense than the egg. And this, I think I know where this is going, straight to the bottom. By the looks of things, this one's shooting straight down, so that's probably more dense than this one. So we can move our egg out of the way. Now, I'm just going to do a couple more spoons at once, just to show you. So 1, 2, mix it all in. Got some very salty water now. And definitely don't drink this, you will feel very ill afterwards, and it won't taste very nice. Mix, mix, mix. There we go. We've got some water now. That is a lot more dense than when we first had it. All those little gaps in between the water that, although we can't see, are there, getting filled up with salt. So let's try Mr. McHale's work badge. We see it's floating on top of the water. If I give it a little poke, even when I poke it now, you can see how slowly that goes down. And even now, it's not touching the bottom. So that is taking quite a while to go down now. So let's try Mr. McHale's bottle cap. And that's just sunk straight to the bottom. So we can tell from that, Mr. McHale's bottle cap is the most dense object. This, second most, and this is the least dense object. Now, I'm going to put a sheet up for you to try this experiment at home. So all you need is some salt, 3 objects, whatever you want. Try to make sure they're not the heaviest objects in the world or the densest. And you can tell that by if you can move them and stuff like that. It's not very dense. This one you can't. That was my most dense object. And an egg, we're not going to try and move this because we'll just break it. It's got, touch it, you can feel like some liquid in there and some air. So objects like that, fruit and things like that might be a good thing to test. So get those objects, a spoon. Mr. McHale's also brought something to clean up with. Could be very important. And you're going to have a worksheet, and I want you to try your 3 objects, make a prediction about what you think is going to be the most dense object, and then make a prediction about what you think is going to be the least dense, and then test it out using your salt and your water. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Let me know how it goes.